Guys, Aston Villa at home. If you don't believe me, look, I wrote it down. Look, Aston Villa at home. My Aston Villa, Sean. My Aston Villa.
I'll come to you
first this time.
I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you.
Villa, Aston Villa at home. Started the season, I think, four games without scoring, without getting any points, without scoring. They're now 7 unbeaten, 4 wins in a row. We're 7 unbeaten as well. We're not playing that well at home after an international break. Where's this game going? What are you expecting from this game?
You're asking me?
Yes, your name is Sean.
I think a tough game against your lot. I think that if Ollie Watkins is out, then that gives us a bit of a boon in our chances. I think generally he's difficult, and he Villa traditionally, last season's Villa obviously create chances wherever they go. They were always very, very good on the road, and but actually saying that their form was better at home, wasn't it? My mistake.
What the hell?
What is that?
My Aston Villa or your Aston Villa? You've got your own channel.
Oh my God. Who did that? That's hilarious.
How many channels do you have, Sean?
Yes, Sean's got a channel for every club.
I think 6 at the moment. Yeah, 6 channels. More channels than a spiritualist. I think look, for me, I think the game with Aston Villa, it's always, for me, it's a midfield tussle. I really want to see. I think we need to go strong. We need to have Polinia, and on this one, I think we absolutely need to have Bentancur, because I think that he's the more physical 8 of the 3. Even though I still make the argument that we need someone else in there, because people like John McGinn always fly under the radar. No one gives Johnny McGinn the credit that he deserves. What a player! He's got thighs like tree trunk. Yeah, you're number 8. Yeah, or 6. I don't know, 6, 8, whatever he is. And obviously Morgan Rogers as well. If he's floating around in front of them, then he's going to be the danger man. But I think Tottenham have got enough in it in our tanks. I think we've got away with any kind of injuries from the international break, apart from Bissouma and Ben Davies, who weren't probably going to start anyway. So look, I think that international break the curse was broken last week as well. At least the front side of the international break curse was broken. I'm expecting goals. I expect a tough game. Still, if you want to take your note right now, I'll say I'm going to go for an absolute gangbusters 3-2 victory to Tottenham, but could go either way. I think there'll be some contentiousness. I think that there's a little bit of spiciness. The Villa-Tottenham game, because of what Matty Cash has done to Matt Doherty and to Bentancur in the last couple of years, he's like a sort of
Polish
villain.
right back.
Your Polish right back. He's a nasty little git. Thinks he's Jack Grealish from Wish. Nasty piece of work, but I think it's going to be spicy, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a really cracking game and a real test as well. And if Tottenham can come through the victors, then obviously it keeps us in a really strong position in the league. It takes 3 points. It's a 3-point gap created against a team that, look, for the first 4 games of the season, they couldn't score. They weren't looking their best, but they're starting to grind into results now because they're playing in the Europa League, and you've got Unai Emery doing what he does there. That momentum that they've created there seems to be rolling over back into the league. Tough game, but like I say, I think there's going to be goals. There's going to be a lot of yellow cards in the game. Wouldn't be surprised if there's a red card in the game as well. But yeah, I'm also looking forward to hopefully seeing Tottenham maybe get some minutes later on to players that we're looking to see if they get a couple of minutes into their legs, like a Kolo Muani. For me, though, I think that the team pretty much picks itself. I don't really want to see Richarlison. I think that you have to reward this. I know I don't want to get back into the Matthias Tell and Odegaard sort of debate about how good or bad they are or whatever, but I think that you need to reward Matthias Tell's somewhat little bit of a step up in form. I think you have to keep Odegaard. There you go. I think you basically just nailed it, mate. That's exactly my team, 100%. Odegaard on the left, Bentancur, Simmons, Kudus, Udogie, Van der Ven, Romero, Porro. Yeah, 100%. That's my team. Spot on. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Yeah. So let me come to you, Lubo. Let me ask, because the reason this is the team I picked earlier for the game, and I know that we're always going to have the whole, what about this guy in midfield, that guy. I think Sean hit the nail on the head earlier when he said what Aston Villa are good at. Their midfield is strong. They have a very strong midfield, whether it's McGinn, Kamara, Onana, Tielemans, even that young boy, is it Bogard that they've got in there? He's a feisty little worker as well. And I think that we're gonna have to, again, when people say, oh, you can't play Bentancur and Paulinho at home, I think you've got to. I think you've got to try and match them physically. And these two, for me, Lubo, I know you want to see your boy Gray and Bergvall playing there, but these two are disciplined. They will keep the shape. Yeah. They will make sure that the midfield is a midfield and that they don't just run up the field at every opportunity. What are you saying about that?
I think that, listen, I agree with that team. I think the team played well at Leeds. I think the same 11 deserves to start. Villa are no mugs. They're both unbeaten in 7. My personal opinion is they'll both be unbeaten in 8. I think it's one of those that, when I said first half of this season, there's going to be, you're looking at results, and sometimes you can't jump forward every single time. Sometimes you hold fire, you play a tough game, you make sure you don't lose, you keep the unbeaten run going. And it's at the moment, it's putting bricks down, it's building foundations. And I think that this will be a very hard game. I think personally, they're two very evenly matched sides at the moment. And I foresee a draw. Personally, I think it will help, obviously, if Watkins is out. I think Mings is out as well long term, isn't he? I believe. I think Mings is injured.
But no, Tyrone Mings is meant to be back, I think. So they're saying Tyrone Mings and
let's have a look.
I think it's good. I think it's going to be an interesting game. I think it'll be a draw. I genuinely think it will be a draw. I think it'll be one of these. I think we're coming into a difficult period, and I honestly think we're going to draw quite a few games because we are difficult to beat. Our strength is at the back, not at the front. We're not scoring many goals. Villa aren't scoring many goals. Personally, I see a 1-1 draw here. So I think I've
just checked.
I think we're going to draw. I think we're going to draw a few over the next weeks as well. I think we're coming into a run of draws here, possibly.
Well, Luba, I've just checked, and apparently Buendia's out, Mings is out, and Tielemans is out as well. And then Sancho and Watkins are questionable. I don't know how true that is. That's just off I don't know. How true
Onana, they're saying Onana, who was out, who's just came back from the last game, expected to play. It will be a big asset. Tielemans is definitely out. But the fact that Watkins looks like he's going to be okay and Onana's going to be there. Listen, it's going to be a battle in midfield. And I reckon you're 100% spot on that we're going to need Paulinho and Bentancur in the middle of the park. We need the experience and we need some aggression. Huh?
I'm not really I'm not really bothered who's out for Villa because Wolves hadn't won a game all season and then they rocked up at Algaff, and I've got a bit of a worry with not just under Frank, just since we've moved into this stadium. It's not the fortress it was meant to be in the league. And our home record this season in the league, okay, we haven't played loads of games. It hasn't been good in terms of performance. And I agree with Luba. I think we're going to draw this because I think we've got an issue at home. I don't know what the issue is at home because on the road, we look quite good. At Man City, we were excellent. At Brighton, we deserved to win it, even though we were 2-0 down. Against Leeds, we deserved to win it. On the road, we're completely different to at home. And I think at home, we've got an issue. And I think Villa's got the fourth joint best defence in the league, but they're terrible up front. I think I agree with Luba. I think this is a draw. I think 1-1. I think it's going to. I think it's another draw.
2-2 still.
To Johan Lange.
Johan Lange, yeah. Levy is a late sub. Listen, look. I think the thing is with this goes back a long way. I think the Burnley win was our first win in one of, I can't remember how many games it is, going back 16, 17 games. I can't remember how many games we've actually won. It's probably one of the worst home records in the league.
Isn't it 3 and 7? It's 3 and 17, isn't it, Johnny?
like that. Yeah, it's absolutely abysmal. And I think, Vinay needs to maybe have some word with the fan liaison groups and try to change what is a stale atmosphere at the ground. It's nowhere near what used to be Fortress White Hart Lane. Even on a good night, it's nowhere near it. As soon as we go one down or something happens, it turns into a mortuary. I think that the fact that we've got this positivity running through the club gives us half a chance. But I still think we're going to win the game. I don't know why, because we struggle against Villa. But I think it's going to be a nasty game. And I think retribution on Cash might be delivered by one Cuti Romero, who never forgets, and neither does Bentancur. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm not bothered by that because I don't want to see Romero or Bentancur getting themselves sent off or anything like that.
I want to see a feisty. No. I want to see the feist because we're going to need that in the middle of the park.
Feistiness infects the fan base just as much. Johnny, I was reading an article about this. Do you know there's like some sort of movement in most? I'm not sure if it's everywhere, but it's certain teams in Germany, but a lot of teams in Eastern Europe. The club takes like 5% or like a few pennies from every pint that's sold, and then hands it over to the fan engaged, like the tifo people, that sort of thing, to be able to work with different ways to be able to engage the atmosphere. But the tifos at Tottenham are great. I completely 100% echo you, mate. It doesn't matter whether we go, even when we go 1-0 up, the atmosphere still stinks. Like when we're 1-0 up against Doncaster, 1-0 up, 2-0 up, it was still like a library. You go 1-0 down and you get the tuts and the huffs and the moans and the boos. And if it's 0-0 at half time, you get squeaky bum time. There really is very little in the way of energy coming from the fans. And all of the stuff beforehand, the trumpet player and the tifos, that's great beforehand, but you need something to keep the guys motivated during the game.
We need an anthem.
Do you think
we need an anthem? We need something going on.
It's the football, guys. I think if the team is a good team on the pitch like we had under Poch, every game we were just because we knew that team was just special, and I think it's going to take time until you've got a team that just looks
I'd like to see tifos the size that Newcastle have as well. I think you look at that and that draping down all the stands. I think it'll be brilliant.
All of that stuff, though, Lubo. Like,
no one gives a shit once the whistle blows for kickoff.
All the stuff beforehand is superb, but to me, like, I don't know, like we seem to be very good at putting on a concert. Like, why don't we like allow there to be a band playing during the actual game? Like, have an electric guitarist singing like, Bon Jovi halfway there or something at half time. I don't know.
Like, look at the drums. Like all the way through the ground, right? I remember in the World Cup,
brass band in,
all the way through. Yeah,
where's the Spurs drummer? We used to have a Spurs drummer.
Yeah, but he used to say the Y word, and that's why it was banned.
No, but that drum that used to happen in White Hart Lane was like half the size of one of the corner stands. It was absolutely massive. The one that they've replaced him with is like a little. Like he can sort of just put it in his pocket after the show.
Barry Bongo. I mean, what's that going to do?
Barry Bongo.
They need a giant. They need like an orchestra, a band that's playing songs, that's driving the sound. I mean, you go to Germany, right? Look, we've all been there. You go to the away games. There's some 3 or 4 maniacs, right, who aren't even watching the game. They're turning around to watch the fans, and they're conducting fans, and that's all they do, right? They drive.
Why don't you and Lubo practice what you preach? Get your tops off, get a drum, and just start going bloody batshit crazy.
Listen. It's an idea. Can you imagine like the drum playing up a tier in the West? What do you think they would say?
Oh my God!
We'd wake them up.
No,
turn the noise down.
Yeah, in the East Premium,
Turn
if
the
you
volume-
shout out anything like controversial, they turn around, they all look at you like God knows what. You're all right in the South Stand, anything goes. But listen, it's a look. I hate to admit it, but whenever you used to go to Arsenal, the atmosphere was absolutely shambolic, 10 times worse than what we've got now. But somehow or other, you know, that song that I can't bear, and the atmosphere has changed dramatically there. But they've done something about it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but they've got a title. They've got a title challenging team. They smell they can win a title, so I think that helps. Do you know another thing I've noticed with Spurs as well? That stadium is a bit soulless. You know, when we played Arsenal, when Conte beat them 3-0, I will never forget that atmosphere.
Yeah.
Oh, that was out of this. That was before the game outside. After the game outside, it was electric.
But at that stadium,
but that was a big game. It was which North London club's going to get Champions League. That was the decider. So there was a lot on that game. Whereas at the moment, it's almost like, well, what are we really playing for at the moment? And also, there's a lot of fans in that stadium that they just want a day out kind of thing. You know, it's nice to get out of the house kind of thing. Whereas the old stadium, a lot more fans were. I don't want to say diehard, but they were a bit more, what's the word? A bit more Tottenham meant a lot more to them than just a day out. It was kind of all they've got, I think, for a lot of fans. But fans have changed. Fans have changed as well. We're very corporate fans now. It's comfortable. It's a comfortable stadium, isn't it?
Yeah,
but
still, no one.
Isn't this the problem now with a lot of these brand new grounds? It's all well and good that it's more revenue and concerts and boxing that, but when you're there, whenever I've been to the Tottenham Stadium, nothing about it screams intimidation for the away team. It all feels nice. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone I know has gone there. Yeah. Oh, ain't your stadium nice? Oh, how lovely is the bar and the seats? And what happened to the sticking them in that little corner where they've got no electricity and they've got no Wi-Fi, and give them the crappy beer and give them a bagel instead of a burger? You know,
that's exactly what should do. If you go to Newcastle, you're stuck up in the gods, right? We go to Spurs, or Liverpool. Well, Liverpool's not as bad, but Spurs, we give them a prime pitch. You can hear their fans. Yeah. They're louder than our fans. You know, it's no good.
We need to be, Johnny. We need to be. I mean, for me, the best 3 grounds I went to last season for atmosphere away games were Newcastle, Liverpool, and Forest. We need to be in that.
Lubo, that's a complete lie. Lubo, why are you just missing out the game you and I went to together at Brisbane Road?
That was top.
What's a cracking atmosphere that night in East London? Come on, that was a banging night.
That was good. That was good.
I love Liverpool. I love Liverpool.
How are you, Owen?
The hairs.
No, Sam came down to watch Donnelly and Keeley. Full marks to him.
Purely go to watch Jamie Donnelly, just so you know.
Yeah, he did. He can't admit it. Yeah, he was wearing a Keeley shirt underneath.
I'll tell you what's going to be interesting, Johnny. We're going to Everton next Sunday. Because Goodison Park was a really old-fashioned ground, wasn't it? And the atmosphere, they got that was really good as well. It's going to be interesting to see if what is it, 53,000 the Hill Dickinson ground,
James Dickinson Stadium. Imagine your stadium being called the Tavistock Group Stadium. Yeah, no comment.
Can you imagine?
Is it Hill Dickinson or Dickinson? Hill Dickinson. And they're a law firm, right?
Yeah, almost as bad as the Select Car Leasing Arena in Reading.
The best one. I couldn't even fit it in.
There's some superb.
Mate, when you've got fans sitting in the South Stand before the match having Asian fusion noodles, gourmet pizzas, and all right, what do you think? What do you think's going to happen? You know. Against Chelsea,
there must be a way. All of the pre-game stuff, the fight before the game against Wolves, Was it Wolves, the last one before the break? No, when we drew 1-1, I think it was. The pre-game there was like they had James, whatever his name is, James something like that.
Yeah, Black.
Yeah.
James Black outside the South Stand putting on a concert. It was amazing. It was really, really, really cool.
Do more of that. They're going to do more of that.
All of that stuff is like they could do as much of that as they want, but as soon as the whistle blows, everyone sits down, shuts up, and it doesn't matter. We'll score. We'll celebrate when we score, and then we sit down and we're 1-0. But there's no. I haven't seen the fans in 2 years really like. The energy only gets worse. If we're winning, it doesn't seem to get that much better. But if we're losing or drawing, it gets like it's sort of a sliding scale of how bad it gets. Like there must be a way that once the game starts, that the fans.
Bodo last season was good.
Yeah, Bodo
was good.
That was the last time. Bodo at home was
brilliant.
To be fair, right?
We should have
was there.
Again, to be fair as well, if you're paying 50, 60, 70 quid to watch a game of football and you were watching Prime Son, Harry Kane, Modric, Bale, all these players, and suddenly you're watching, a lot of what we're seeing now, other than Kudus, who really gets you off your seat? Other than Mohamed Kudus right now, who really gets you off your seat with enthusiasm? I don't think there's many players, and I think that probably plays into it as well. It's just, we need some more exciting players at Spurs.
What we need, look, first of all, the void has not been filled by the disappearance of the Koreans. No one's talking about the disappearance of the Koreans. And second of all, we could see that against Villarreal.
No one's talking about the Korean disappearance.
Everyone said they were plastic fans, though. Everyone said they were part of the problem.
It's a documentary, right? What happened to the Korean Spurs fans, right? There should be a documentary.
No one's talking about this. I'm going to put a video out. Someone get me a thumbnail. The biggest story in Tottenham. No one's talking about the disappearing Korean fans.
We need a whole show dedicated to where are you now, right? Korean citizens. You can go outside the shop, the Spurs shop, and see what used to be.
I must tell you something. There are very few. And the other thing, Johnny.
Well, hang on, I've finished.
Johnny,
go on.
The other thing also, there were so many Korean fans that travelled away as well, and they're just not there this season. Listen,
Right,
Yang will come through in a couple of years.
Sorry, are we saying the atmosphere's dropped off because we don't have Korean fans going to match?
No, I'm just saying they
can't be.
Where are we going with this conversation?
No one's filled the void. Well, I'm just about to tell you when the 10,000 seats were available for Doncaster, Villarreal, there were big gaps, right, where the tickets which would normally be sold were not sold, is what I'm saying, because they would buy any tickets, right? Next, you'll be seeing Korean chicken coming off the menu. That will be the next thing. But look.
But to be fair, Johnny, to be fair, mate, I actually had some Korean chicken. The last time I was at the stadium, I went and bought two or three. No, I was horrible, mate. It was the worst thing I've ever eaten in my entire life.
Oh, right.
I was like, gee whiz. I thought the burger was bad enough, but that Korean chicken was horrible. It was really, 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 really.
I admit, I miss all this, right?
Korean chicken is actually excellent, like the real stuff.
Not in the stadium. Not in the stadium. It isn't.
Look, I'm off to Korea. I'm off to Korea in March, and I'm hoping there's still. My son was at Brazil versus Korea last week. While he was out there, he went to the stadium. He said half the Korean fans were in Spurs shirts, which is great, which is a great thing. But you don't see many of them at the stadium. But the truth of the matter is, we need to find a way where we can keep like a drum beat or some sort of atmosphere going. Is there a rule that you can't play music through the tannoy or a beat through the tannoy while the game's going?
I was actually going to say this to you, Johnny. Like they actually have. Like I remember going to Ibiza when I was like in my 20s. And I went to a night by one of the famous DJs, and he obviously had his new song, right? His new song that he was releasing, and he played the same song like 10 times throughout the night. And every time he put it on, the first 4 times that it was played, everyone went mental. The crowd went mental. By about the 8th time, I was looking around, and I'd still hear the crowd going mental, but I was looking around, and everybody wasn't going mental. And it suddenly dawned on me that they're piping in crowd going mental noises into the song to make it look like. So I don't know whether you could do that. Could you like pump through the tannoy some crowd going mental noises?
Plus the crowd in Ibiza, every single one of them was probably on a pill or some kind of narcotic.
Well, we could offer that. We could offer that facility. Pick up your pill and your program. Get your pill and program.
Pill and a pint for £10 special.
A pill and a pint special offer. Right. Paul Coy.
Could you imagine Lubo on an Ibiza pill?
So hang on, you mean
all the sponsors that are out there? We do not condone drug use or alcohol intake of any kind. Okay.
Oh, we said pill.
Lubo on a couple of pills. Someone walks up to him and says, "God, I like that Daniel Levy bloke." Just see what he says. Guys, let's move it away from pills. I don't believe that drugs are the issue to solving Spurs' stadium issues. Let's talk away from the Aston Villa game.
Painkillers.
We've got another international break. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. We've got another international break in November. And trust me, if anyone who does this for a living, it is the worst thing in the world, isn't it, Sean? The international break. It is an absolute killer. But we have 7 games between now and the international break. Now, if I'm not wrong, Lubo will know this off the top of his head. Those 7 games are Aston Villa at home, Monaco away, Everton away, Newcastle in the cup away, Chelsea in the league at home, Copenhagen in the Champions League at home, and then Man United in the league at home. Those 7 games, then a 2-week break. Then the game back after that international break is the little North London derby against Arsenal. Massive 7.
Followed by PSG. So it's not really easy, is it?
So a massive 7 games, which is probably going to tell us a little bit more as to where we are this season, as opposed to the first, as to up until now. Is that fair to say, guys? Like the next 7, you've got some big games in there: Chelsea, Newcastle, Everton away, Villa at home, Man United. Some big games in there, right?
Are they going to implode, Sava? If we get a couple of defeats, are they fans going to throw the toys out the pram? Because
they're waiting for it, Johnny.
Yeah,
no, but Johnny, there are fans. There are fans. If we lose to Aston Villa or don't beat Aston Villa on Sunday, it will be. I thought he was a coach. You're Thomas Frank. He's a fraud. He can't. I'm waiting for it, mate. I'm waiting for the first time he loses again. It will happen.
So am I. And I think, look, all I'm looking for is progression. I think at the beginning of the season, I said I expect to see many big bumps along the road. I expect us to get beaten. I expect us to get beaten badly sometimes. But as long as I can see like signs of player progression, players improving, whether it's Tell, whether it's Odegaard or whoever it is, or some cohesion and relationships forming, I'm quite happy for that to take place. You can't go, in my opinion, lose 22 games in a season and then flip a switch and suddenly, be top 3, top 4 without a problem. I'm expecting the bumps in the road, but as long as I feel like we were competing and we're causing trouble for teams, I'm quite happy. If we can produce a performance against the big teams, like we did when we performed against Paris Saint-Germain in that Super Cup, I'll be very happy. Even though we lost, and they imploded in those last few minutes, I felt quite proud of what we did in those games. In that game.
Well, we've got Chelsea at home and we've got Arsenal away in the next 7, so they're 2 massive games for us, aren't they? They're our 2 biggest derbies, aren't they?
Yeah,
very difficult.
Yeah, very difficult.
Yeah, I think Chelsea. I know they're a bogey team and they always find a way, but I do think Chelsea at home. I do think we can get something from that. I do. Chelsea they're not quite there yet. They're not quite ticking. We can do something. And Arsenal away, I think,
with injuries at the back as well. I think they've got 4 of their 5, 6. They've got like 8 centre backs, but 4 of them are out injured. I don't know for how long. But yeah, if we can get a victory against,
back for us, Sean.
Yeah, cool. I'm sure they will be. But if we can stay, there or thereabouts in the top 3 or 4 until those games, and then get 3 points against Chelsea, that would be such an unbelievable. Everyone would then put the Thomas Frank doubts, to bed, and that would be a real motivator, I think, for the fans to get past that one. And then Arsenal, I think it's just going to be too difficult personally. But
Arsenal away, we got to hope for a draw.
The interesting thing, guys, when you look at the next 7 games as well, it's the fact that you've got 3 different competitions within those 7 games. So it's not like we're just playing 7 Premier League games back to back. It's, one of those games could see us either go through in the cup or we're out of the cup. And then obviously that, like Johnny said just then, that causes another little mini meltdown, doesn't it? If we get knocked out, even though it's away at St. James's Park, a very tough place to go, there'll be a meltdown. But there's games in there that we should be winning, and we can win, right? I don't think there's anyone where you look and you say, oh my gosh, they're amazing, right? I mean, I don't know if I'm wrong there, but
I'm just worried about our home form. Just worried about our home form, and that's what needs to fix up at the moment. If we can get it right at home, we can do really well this year. Away from home, like I've said, we look good. We look good away from home. At home, though, we just look dodgy. I don't know why.
Villa, Chelsea, Man United, and Copenhagen in the next 7 are at home. So 4 of
those in the cup, Champions League and Carabao, we've done all right at home. Just the league games are the ones where we look a bit suspect.
Yeah.
I've got the fixtures on the screen there, Sab. You want to bring up just so people have a reference point what we're talking about. So Aston Villa tomorrow on Sunday, and then after that, what do you guys think about Monaco? Do you think we can go to Monaco and get a result? They seem to be a team that's up and down all the time at the moment.
Man City didn't.
I watched them play City.
City drew with them. Yeah, Man City were all over them. They were all over them. Yeah, but it's about taking your chances, right? You got to finish your dinner, and it's the old adage in football. You got to take your chances, and if you don't, it'll come back to bite you, and that's what happened against Man City. But they do have threats, they do have threats.
Man United at home. Man United at home, I think we can beat them.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we can beat them.
Look, I'm with Stel. It's about arresting our home form. It's our weak, it's our Achilles heel right now, and it should be our strength, not our Achilles heel. No one's scared to come to White Hart Lane or to the Tottenham Stadium. No one. Yeah. They relish it, and there lies the problem. We saw last season, with the likes of Ipswich, resting players, and coming to the stadium and beating us.
Do you think it's really important, Johnny? Sorry, mate. Do you think it's really important? Like, if we can go and get 3 points against Monaco, if we can, it's not an easy feat, but if we can do it, and then obviously this is the Copenhagen game split between Chelsea and United is a tough one, right? Because you want to go full strength against you can't drop, you can't rest players, and it's so you got the Newcastle game where you want to. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the argument is at some point you're going to have to sacrifice possibly something or rotate somewhere. But you probably want to go full strength against Chelsea and United. And so you can hope that even your B team have got enough to beat Copenhagen. But then in a world where you're sitting pretty, if you've beaten Monaco and beaten Copenhagen, then you can 100% go full strength against Arsenal and then not worry so much against PSG. You can sort of take your medicine against PSG because you've needed to go full strength for these 2 games here, right? For the Tottenham United game and the Arsenal game. Like there's going to have to be some sort of squad rotation somewhere. But I would imagine that PSG against Tottenham, it's going to be difficult whichever team you put out. So do you hope?
Yeah, but Sean, there's a 2-week break between United and Arsenal.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I didn't. Of course,
but still, you've got 2 massive games back to back, and Look, my biggest worry is when we meet.
But this goes back to what we said at the start of the season. Have we got a squad that can compete on all 4 fronts? And I said no. And Frank's going to have to, which is why I said Frank. If Frank wants to have a good season, he's going to have to compromise some competitions. There's no choice, because if he tries and goes full strength in all these games, we're going to get into trouble. We can't do it.
I think he knows that. My biggest problem when we go to play Monaco is will Eric Dyer try and confuse us with his French accent? We've heard his German accent. He's doing a Steve McLaren. He's doing a Steve McLaren. Did anyone see the Steve McLaren video when he joined?
It's difficult. It's difficult playing in Amsterdam. It's a hard place to play.
And then when he went to Jamaica, he tried to do a Jamaican accent, and we got Eric Dyer with his German accent.
Hang on, don't forget Joey Barton. He had a little go at the French accent, didn't he? If you remember.
Well, yeah, and now we can see Eric Dyer suddenly gone full on French. He's gone full on French. He's only been there a few games, and he's already full on French.
I'll tell you what, though, right?
Him
I'll tell you what, for everyone, like people saying, loads of people in the chat saying, oh, we should go to beat Monaco easily. I watched Monaco against City. While City had all the ball, which is Man City's MO, right? That's the way Man City play. Monaco looked very dangerous. They looked really dangerous, and they could have had a few more goals, Monaco. So, listen, I think that's the sort of game that, if you come away from there with a draw, I don't think that's... I think the problem I have at the moment, guys, is...
Have fans forgotten about Bodo away?
Right. But no, this is my point. Because we've had a good start to the season now, any game you mention, people are going, yeah, that's 3 points. That's 3 points. We should beat them. And I have to keep reminding people, you're not just going to win every game. You are... Frank said it himself, didn't he? We will lose games. There will be games we lose. I just hope that if we lose a game, that we don't go into absolute meltdown unnecessarily over one defeat. Because we've seen this year, we are hard to beat. If we lose a game, we can bounce back from it. But we've got to stop thinking every game is going to be 3 points. I
think it's going to be a mixed game. I can see the next three, Villa, Monaco, Everton as draws. Newcastle will do well to get anything up there. Chelsea, I could see us getting a draw, and I can see us beating Copenhagen and United. So, for me, it's going to be 4 draws, 2 wins, 1 defeat. And if we come out of it in 3 weeks' time,
4 wins, 2 draws, 1 defeat.
2 wins, 2 wins against Copenhagen and United, 4 draws, and a defeat at Newcastle. If we come out of it in the league, where are we now? 1-1. If we come out of it with a win and 3 draws in the league.
Yeah, but that doesn't quite look as good though, Lubo, when the next 2 games you're probably saying we're going to lose as well, right? Which is Arsenal and PSG.
No, hang on. But in the Champions League, you've come out with a win and a draw, so you've got 8 points out of 12. So that's pretty good if you're looking to, over 8 games to get there or thereabouts the top 8. Definitely, you definitely built a foundation.
So you've got 3 draws in the Premier League.
I wouldn't be surprised. We can't expect. Some of the performances this season have been dogged and resilient, but not very good. And at some stage, teams are going to take advantage. And they're going to put some chances away.
Getting 3 points from 12, though, we're back in mid-table again. 3 points from 12 in those 4 games.
Do you know what this league table?
I disagree.
One win and 3 draws. 1 win and 3 draws.
1 win and 3 draws.
Oh, sorry.
From the
1 win and 3 draws.
Right? Okay. We're on 14. That'll take us to 20. How many teams behind you are going to just win 3 or 4 in a row? It will keep you up there. I'm not saying I agree with Luke, but I think there will be a defeat. I hope this doesn't sound negative. I do think there will be a defeat in this next group of Premier League games. You're not going to just not lose games. I don't know when it will be. It will probably be the one we don't expect it to be, and we'll probably win the one we don't expect to win. But listen, I think if we can go in at the next international break, which is 4 more league games, is that right, Lubo?